at least 100 people who will assist you with this, who will basically do it for you. At least 100. At least 100. I know some of you are going, wait a minute, Larry. Why would people want to help these people stay in the country? I don't get it. Well, some of them obviously are people who want more immigrants because they have some ideological issue. Some do. But the vast majority want to do it because they want people to come here because our big business wants immigrants. I know some of you are saying, Larry, this sounds anti-immigrant, what you're saying. I am not anti-migrant at all. Not even close. I just want to find a system that will make sure it works, that we can control our border, control who comes in, and let lots of them in. I don't mind as long as you got a plan. All good. I'm about to give you a plan, but you have to see how this is a problem before we get to that plan.
The immigration judge will review it during a person's court hearing. The court system is backed up.
I have clients who have been in proceedings now for going on 10 years, since 2012.
Kate Lakin-Goldfitch is an immigration attorney in Austin.
Asylum seekers who come and ask for help or who are caught crossing and placed in deportation proceedings go into the same court system as immigrants who are caught in a work raid or who are pulled over for driving without a license and placed into deportation proceedings.
Bottom line, the folks that you see under the bridge, if they have credible or reasonable fear, they are here legally. In the meantime, if released, they are able to petition for a work permit and pay taxes. In Austin, I'm Erica Prof.
I just wanted you to see that part first, right? That part we have to work on before we go anyplace else. Once we deal with that issue, now we treat everyone the same. And that's what I want. I don't care if you want asylum. I don't care if you want to work. I don't care if you want to school. I want every migrant to be treated the same. You want to come to our country? Awesome. Here's part two. How do you come? Once we end this asylum issue, all right, Larry, smart guy, how do you come to our country then? We come through with a new and improved privately set up Ellis Island system. Not one Ellis Island. There must be multiple Ellis Islands. Not one. One will be a disaster. That's called a monopoly and will absolutely fail and be a horror show. It must be multiple. What is the government's job in this? Very simple. The government's job is to lease land to recruiting companies. Lara, are you telling me recruiting companies are going to build some massive facility to have all these people come in and they're going to vet them and send them into America? You tell me that? Yes, I am telling you exactly that. The international, if you look internationally, the recruiting industry, listen to this number, is an $800 billion industry. I will say it again, 800 billion. It's almost $1 trillion industry. In the US alone, it's over 220 billion just in the US. Yes. Will they build something for $100 million? Easy. Easy. They wouldn't think twice. They're like, thank you. When can I do this? Yes. There are over 150 million, and this is just reported, foreign workers around the world. 150 million reported. So who knows not reported, right? But reported, 150 million reported. So probably 200 million more. Who knows? Who knows? Around the world. Somehow, these recruiting companies are doing it. They're getting this done. Larry, why not one? If you have one, there'll be a monopoly and they'll be horrible. Start with 2, 3. Put 2 on the Texas border, 1 in California. I don't care. You pick. I don't care where. 1 in Texas, 1 in Arizona, 1 in California. Wherever's appropriate. I don't know. Who cares? Let them pick. All the government does is lease the land. What does that mean? The government makes money on this. Yeah, no taxpayer dollars. Isn't it crazy? No taxpayer dollars? Yes. So they create 3, I'm making this up, large facilities run by 3 separate recruiting companies. They would happily jump on this. Happily. They would have the facilities up in 60 days. Fill the facilities up, 60 days. Once these facilities are up, and I'm not joking, 60 days, government goes, the land is leased, go away, good luck. But Larry, what if one of them is a bad facility? That's why you have 2 others. And their incentive is not getting paid by the government. So if they don't get people to go there and they don't place people, they don't make money. Generally speaking, recruiting companies get about 20% to 10 to 20% of the annual salary of the person they're placing. That's the norm. That's how they do it. So for a fee. But Larry, these people can't afford it. They don't pay it. The employer does. So I want a bunch of farm workers. I go there and say, hey, give me vetted, Farm workers, I pay you the fee and they come. Larry, farmers are going to pay. They already do. If you don't know that, you're not paying attention. They're paying the black market right now. Illegal immigration is actually more lucrative than legal immigration right now. Why? Because we've made a black market. Well, a lot of these people, what if they want to come, but they can't afford it? They're paying coyotes now. And the coyotes are trafficking them and putting drugs. And just go to the Ellis Island. Pay in actual whatever, dollars, pesos, whatever they want to take. Bitcoin, whatever they take, I don't have to worry about it. All I'm doing is leasing out land. And they're rotating people through. Now, what will they do? They'll do several things. They will test them in English or not. How do I know that? It's happening now. Literally, if you go to upstate New York now and your farmer says, I need some workers. He goes over to Juan, and the guy's name is Juan or Pablo because he's Hispanic. He goes to that guy and he says, hey, Juan, I need 5 workers. One's got to speak English. And Juan goes, okay. Gives him a flat fee, gives him the money, done. He got 6 workers, 5 workers, one speaks English. Juan already tested them. He knows who speaks English, who doesn't. He knows already. Now these recruiting companies do that. You don't know which ones speak English, which ones don't, whatever. Fine. They'll also do background checks. Are they bad guys? Are they linked to cartels? Any of those things. Medical exams. Maybe we keep them there for 2 weeks or whatever is the thing. Why would they keep them there? Sure. Why wouldn't they? We have similar systems when it comes to things like medical tourism and such. All the time. They make massive hotels for people. All the time. So you make it. Larry, what if it's inhumane? First off, it's inhumane now. So this horrible, death dystopian world is today. What's the worst it'll be? A barracks? Okay, maybe it'll be the barracks. I doubt it. Because each one will want more people to come. So each company will have to make it as nice as it can and financially appropriate for people to show up because it's the private market. If they don't move people, they don't get paid. They don't get paid. That's the critical piece here, right? That's the part that people don't get, right? Leela asked, why do you need to test them in English? You don't. You just need to know who can speak English because some jobs require you to speak English. They don't need to speak English. They need to be tested so they can be placed. So you might test them on other things too. You might have someone who says, I have a license for X, Y, and Z. You test them for that. Whatever you want to test them for, it doesn't matter, right? You test them for whatever the farmers or the hospitality people or whoever, whatever they need. It doesn't matter. But here's the best part. I'm not even done yet. What happens right now if someone crosses the border and then commits a crime? Who gets punished for that? Who's responsible for that? Nobody. The government clearly failed us and doesn't matter. What happens, though, if they start putting people in and they all start committing crimes? Who's responsible? The company is. Someone is responsible for crimes. Someone is responsible for the crimes. Oh, my God. There's an incentive for them to do real background checks. There's an incentive for them to really check people out. What will that mean? It means the actual bad guys, and there are actual bad guys, of course there are, bad guys who are actually, trafficking people, bringing in drugs, doing the bad things. They won't go there. They can't. They'll be caught. They'll be deported. They'll be put in jail. They won't go there. Of course they won't. The people who go there, those who want to work, who want to be here. Let's say they don't want to work. They go, I just want to come and I want to be sponsored. You can still be sponsored. The sponsorship rules will still exist. Now, the sponsors that pay that fee to that company that they would normally pay, they pay the same to 10 or 20%, whatever it is. There'll be a flat fee. They'll have an answer for that too. They'll be vetted and you get sponsored in. Totally fine. You can still get your spouse over or whatever is your family member, whatever you normally would do. But it's the best part. This isn't the government. Therefore, wait a minute, hold on. They're cutting in front of people. No, they're not. Whatever line you were in the government, you're still in. It doesn't affect the government at all. This is a private system that follows government rules. That's it. Larry, we can't do that. Yes, we do. We do it now. Literally, now we do it. What do I mean by that? If you want to get your car inspected in New York State, you don't go to the state to get your car inspected. You go to a local garage who's authorized by the government to follow the government rules, and they inspect your car. You get your sticker, you move on. We do it already. Follow those same rules, whatever those rules are, right? And then we're done. That's all it is. Right? Wait a minute. How in the world can we ensure they're being vetted effectively? By creating rules for that. No worries. Not just that. There were certain parts of DACA that were good ideas. Now, I know DACA wasn't implemented the way it should have, but there were some good ideas. One of them was, I'll give you two that were good. One of them was, if you were DACA legal, if you were made legal by DACA, you couldn't take any public assistance. That rule would still apply. So you come to America through this system, you get recruited someplace or sponsored, whichever you want. The private company takes the cash and moves on, places you where they want to place you. You are not authorized to take public assistance. Can't do it. Second thing about DACA that was good was a 2-year check-in. You follow that same rule, a 2-year check-in. 2 years, you come back and you check in, right? If you don't check in, gone. If you check in, you want public assistance, gone. That's it. But as long as you check in every 2 years, not on public assistance, good for you. Life is good. Enjoy yourself. Do your thing. Do you. Not just that. You can now create rules, again, for someone to get a green card. Is that 5 years? Is that 10 years? I don't know. Whatever the rules are, come up with those rules here. Someone has to say, I'm making this up for sake of argument. You've got to, have a clean work history for 6 years and pass an English test. I made that up. Whatever the rules are, right? Not get convicted of a felony and you can get your green card. Fine. No worries. And maybe the citizenship test too, after 10 years, whatever's the number, you figure it out and they can do that too. Why not? Larry, who's going to pay for that? They will. They're here making money. You're here working, paying your taxes, not taking public assistance, save up your money and buy your green card, buy your citizenship, save your cash and do it. Pass a test, you get it. All good. Why not? Why not? I'm still not done on why the system will work so well. All right, you say, Larry, but there are still bad guys. You're right. There are still bad guys. There are still smugglers and traffickers. That's true. They still are. Now, what happens is we actually can get our border patrol to do their actual job. They don't want to do their actual job because their actual job right now is babysitting. And they're actually offering people cash. Hold on, I think I want to show you. This is from maybe about a year ago. It's an actual border agent who's like, I'm never going back. It's terrible. I can't stand it. I'm never going back. And you'll see why he feels this way.
They don't want to do this. They're federal agents and babysitting people, transporting them, processing them. A lot of them have told me they feel that what they're doing is basically they're the north end of the cartel smuggling organization. Where in the past, the cartels would have to take most of these people, put them in load houses, and then drive them around and hire people to do that illegally. And we're doing that for them now. They cross the border, they put up their hands, say, I have credible fear. I want asylum.
Credible fear.
So put a group of 500 across. We pull every agent in the 25, 30-mile area. They come in, they transport them to the station. They spend the rest of the day, 24 hours processing them. And then we shower them, we feed them, and we move them on. We give them to NGOs who then do what they do with them.
See, that's happening now. That's the current system. So instead of, and they don't want to do it. This guy, they offered him $10,000 bonus. He said no. They offered another guy $15,000 bonus. He said no. 15 grand. And this dude was like, no, I'm not doing it. 15 grand's real money. And this guy's like, nope, not doing it. Of course not. You're a babysitter. So here's what happens. Since the people who are not the bad guys are going to the Ellis Islands, the people who are the bad guys will still be trying to cross the border. Of course they will. Who will be there? Our Border Patrol. Border Patrol will come back. Their morale will be high. Now their morale is garbage. Their morale will be high. Why? They're doing what they want to do. They're getting bad guys. You will hear me say this a gazillion times. The most important thing that law enforcement should be used for is not a profit center. It's not to, make people happy. That's not what they should be used for. They should be used to get bad guys. And the vast majority of law enforcement officers I know, that's what they want to do too. They're like, yes, let me go get the bad guys. That's why I put this badge on. That's why I put this uniform on. I want to get bad guys. Let's let them. So you will still get the bad guys. Our border will be more secure overnight because now you're not taking all these, as he just said, which happens all the time, all these agents babysitting people. They're not border agents getting bad guys. And also something else, you're not going to have some family, which is heartbreaking, some mom with 2 kids drowning in a river. It's not going to happen. Who's going to drown in a river? Some gangbanger, which sucks. I don't want anyone to drown. But if someone is going to drown in a river, I would rather it be a trafficker than be a family. right? If I got to choose, this is a much better plan. So now they're going after bad guys. Our border is more secure overnight. Then I go, wait a minute, that sounds great, but hold on. What about all the people who are currently in line? I got it, currently in line. What stops them from going to this place? Anybody can go. It happens to be on the border. But if you're not on the border and you're like, wait a minute, I've been waiting 10 years. I'm just going to go to this thing. You've been working, you got cash, go there. Pay whatever you got to pay, or have your employer do it. What if you are actually working illegally for somebody right now? And you're like, I'm scared. Oh, go to one of the Ellis Islands. Have your employer pay you 10, 20%, whatever. Oh, you pay it, whatever. Make a deal with your employer. If your employer likes you and she likes you, she wants you to stay back, great. Have her pay it or take out a loan, whatever, and you're legal. Done deal. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to come from the border. It happens to be on the border. In fact, you could build these someplace else. You can build them in Chicago. You can build them in St. Louis. You can build one in LA. Wherever you want. Lease the land out. Start doing it. What will wind up happening? The horrible immigration system that we have now, people will start going there, which means less people in the government plan, which means we can shut down a whole lot of the government stuff and save government money, less taxpayer money. This plan makes everything work with less taxpayer money. It is more efficient. It is more effective. It is safer with less taxpayer money. But wait a minute, Larry, you don't understand. Trump has told us that there are millions of evil gangbangers who've come here and are stuck in America. Well, I don't think there's millions, but there are bad guys who are in America right now. Illegal immigrants, they exist. They're in New York City. They exist 100%. Well, it's very tough for law enforcement to get them. People tell you, we're going to go there and throw them all up. No, we're not. That's a fantasy. Two things. We're not going to get rid of immigrants. That's not a thing. You can think that all you want. That is a fantasy. American industry has been built on immigrant industry for almost all of our history, with one small exception, right after World War II when all the soldiers came back. Other than that, we have been grabbing immigrants to work our industry for centuries. That's not changing. You can say you don't like it, say people don't want it. Yes, they do. They're here because big business industry wants them. That's why. Okay, got it. That's number one. Number two, because of that, we're not going house to house and rounding them up and deporting them. There's at least, 18, 20 million of them at least? I mean, who knows how many, right? Last time I checked years ago was 12. I don't know how many there are now, right? Whatever the issue is, right? We got tons of them, millions of them, but there are bad guys, tons of them. Okay, hard for law enforcement to get them. Why? Because most of them live in immigrant enclaves. If you head to an immigrant enclave and say, I want to get bad Pablo, good Pablo keeps his mouth shut. Why? If he says something about bad Pablo, he gets deported. But wait a minute. We don't have to. What? He doesn't have to. Good Pablo can go to any of the Ellis Islands, become legal, and then point out where bad Pablo is, because now good Pablo is not going to get arrested. Weird. Now, what happens? Initially, for the sake of argument, because I don't know a number, there's 18 million undocumented workers here. I'm going to make that up. I don't know. 18 million. For sake of argument, it's true. Whatever it is. I'm going to say 18. That's the number I'm going to use for now. Let's say out of those, the 1% is bad, right? That's what the people tell me 1%. Good. That's 180,000 bad guys. It's 180,000 bad guys. The rest are all good workers. Okay. Sake of argument, was that's true. Let's say just 10% of them, of the good workers, go to the Ellis Islands. 10%. 10%. They go. And then they come back. Now, a lot of the workers there are going to think, no, you're going to go, they're going to put you in jail. They come back and go, no, I got my papers now. See, I got an orange card, 2 years, I'm safe. I can call the cops now. If I get in trouble, I can go to court now, right? If my boss tries to, be mean to me or bad to me, I can sue him if I want, like all the other Americans can. I can do all the things. I'm safe. And they'll go, wait a minute. Really? They'll all start going. Within the course of 5 or 10 years, the 18 million, the 17 million, or whatever that number is, that are all good, those people will go and get their papers. The bad guys can't, because if they go, they get booted. What happens? all of a sudden the bad guys get seen. That's how we sweep the bad guys out. That is the method of sweeping the bad guys out. The good guys who are just working, doing their jobs, they will all get legal. They'll all get their papers. They'll all get documented. They will over time. And as they do, the bad guys, how come you get your papers? Because you're a member of MS-13 is the reason why. Okay, you got to go. They call the cops on you and they go. That will over time happen. That's how it works. This system works to clean out bad guys. This system works to make people documented. This system works to get people a path to a green card or a path to citizenship that does not affect anybody already in the system, right? You still can do whatever you want. No worries whatsoever. You can still do you any way you want. It also saves taxpayer money. And it just uses people who are already working. They're more efficient than the government. Again, the recruiting industry across the globe is an $800 billion industry, 200 and some odd billion dollars just in America. And somehow there are over 150 million, again, reported foreign workers. What number is that actually? Who knows how many? And somehow, as these legal or reported workers go back and forth, there's not massive death. There's not massive killing. Not at all. They are making sure it's working. And on top of it all now, all those people who are here, again, checking every 2 years and no public assistance are now paying taxes. Paying taxes on top of it all. All right. That's how you set up the Ellis Islands. And you allow them to be grown wherever you want. You can put them in the northern border if you want to. Put them in Minnesota if you want to. Who cares? Whatever makes sense. Whatever makes sense. Right? And all of a sudden, more popping up. All the federal government does is lease out the land. That's it. Nothing else. They take the money, and then they begin to shut down their own horrible immigration system and get rid of that and let the private sector take it over. That's been done before in states. It can be done now. But I am not done. The next thing I want to talk about is our foreign policy. One of the biggest reasons for all these people rushing to America is because we are helping destabilize their own world, their own countries, their problems. So the last part of this, the fifth part of this, is to stop destabilizing these countries and stop our stupid war on drugs and stop our stupid war on terror. Those are dumb. They don't help. They are bad. End them, right? Everybody coming out of Western Africa, everybody coming out of Northern Africa. Weird. We destabilized the Middle East and all these Middle Easterners come over here. We destabilized North Africa. All these North Africans come over here. We helped the French and the Russians destabilize Western Africa and they come over here. Remember we were fighting in Mali? Remember that? Remember those guys who died in Mali? What were we doing in Mali? Helping the French destabilize Western Africa. Yes, we destabilized Central America. Here come all these Central Americans. We destabilize and force our rules upon people, and we wonder why the Chinese they like the Chinese so much. So let's stop enforcing our rules on other countries. Let's end our stupid war on drugs, end our stupid war on terror, and there'll be less people coming here. Here's the reality. If a person believes that their life is not going to be much better in America, they don't come here. They would rather stay in their own country. They would rather stay in their own land. They'd rather stay with their family if they could. Clearly they would. Anybody would rather. But if they really think their life's gonna be a whole lot better someplace else, they take a chance, they gamble, and they go. Well, if their world isn't so bad because we're not destabilizing it, they'll stay. It's human nature. If we add these pieces up, this is how you actually fix the border. Everything else is a joke. I'm not joking when I say this. Everything else is a joke. It's not going to work. You can't have just open borders, not realistically. Do I love the idea of open borders? Sure, it sounds amazing. It does. It sounds great. We're going to hold hands. Me and Sam going to hold hands and skip across the border. Kumbaya. Sounds amazing. It's not real. Maybe one day it will be. I hope one day it will be that way. It just isn't. That's the reality of life. America isn't ready for it. The world isn't ready for it. It's not a thing. Maybe one day it will be. Then we'll have open borders and we'll all hold hands and give big hugs. That'd be amazing. That's not today. And not for several years, for sure. Just not where we are. This allows us to have secure borders, know who comes in, and let lots of people come in. Now, if somebody wants to fight me, Larry, what if we don't have enough? You could make up a system, very simple, that certain states could opt out if they wanted to. You could. I don't know why you would. It is my opinion. No state should opt out, but that's just my opinion. If a state wants to opt out for some reason, let a state opt out. But Larry, what if they go there? Then they'd be breaking the rules. You're not authorized to go on state X or statewide. Be on your orange card, whatever it is. You can't go there to work. And if you do, you get booted. That's how that works. Remember, 2-year check-in. If you get caught, you got to go. That's how that works. You will find law enforcement happier, Border Patrol happier. The recruiting industry will be jumping for joy, which is why you can't have just one, because you will then have government cronyism. There must be some form of rule to where there must always be at least 3 or 4 or 5 companies, whatever. It's got to be some rule with that. That's one issue you have to have. The biggest issue to have is companies wanting to become a monopoly. And then once it becomes a monopoly, they'll become slave camps. I'm just saying forward. If you let one private organization run these Ellis Islands, they will become camps. And you know what I mean when I say that. That's what will happen. It must be multiple, and they cannot be government funded in any way. In any way. If one government dollar goes to any of these facilities, the government will begin to control it, and it will collapse, just like education, just like hospitals. Everything that the government gets its hands in eventually turns to garbage. No dollars comes from the government. None. If the government wants to run something, they run their own horrible system parallel that no one will go to eventually. And they'll all get fired, which is great because they get picked up by the recruiting companies. So it'll still be fine. There'll be consultants for the companies. We do this, and we can fix this. I hope that was crystal clear. I think I covered everything. I'll try to answer questions now to the best of my ability. But this is how you actually fix the border. It is a longer-term plan. Probably it's going to take before you see it actually come to fruition. If you said yes today, like today, yes, you could have it up and running within 60 days. It could be running in 60 days. You would see impact within probably 6 months. Within 5 years, it'd be night and day. Night and day by 5 years. You'd probably have the whole thing fixed by 10. Because by that, the vast majority of people would have believed in the system, be going through that already. States would figure out what rules, how much they can take. The recruiting companies will have fixed out how that works. That all would have happened. So give it 10 years, everything will shake out, of course. We'll grab a couple of comments if I can. Patty says, Larry. Thank you. Yes, I am back on. I'm doing a bunch of shows this week. I'm doing one tomorrow, too, and also one on Friday. I'm on with Mike Voss tomorrow at 3 p.m. Talking about Trump going to the National Association of Black Journalists. I'm talking about that tomorrow at 3. And doing AMA on the Olympics, believe it or not, Saturday at 7. So if you guys want to come by then, that'd be awesome, too. Raj says, E-Verify. I would buy something like that, Roger. I mean, it could be some way of doing it. I don't have to have that answer, because as long as we can hold the private companies accountable, which we must, as we can do that, they will find the right answer because they're accountable, right? And that's the issue. Once we try that, now we're good. Leela gets it. She says, nope, not just one. Correct. Monopoly is always bad. Every time. Not the way you do it. And Leela goes on to say, no taxpayer dollars. Yes. You know me. Guys, I'm never going to have a plan that's going to cost more taxpayer dollars, ever. I'm a libertarian. Never going to go that far, ever. Never. Michael Voss is here. How are you, sir? He says, how do we ensure proper vetting given the threat of terror? And again, the point being, how do we do it now? We don't. Right? At this moment right now, you know this, Mike. You've done more homework on this than I have. You know there are bad guys. I don't want to say the word because I might get demonetized. You know there are bad guys in the country right now across the border who are plotting bad things. That dystopian world is today. If we had this plan, it'd be a whole lot less of them, right? The odds of them getting through, the odds of them actually going to the Ellis Island are slim because they'd probably get caught. Why would they go? The odds are slim. They try to cross the border normally. And now you got aggressive border patrollers who are on the border who are not letting you in. Because if you were a good guy, you'd be at the Ellis Island. You're a bad guy. You're getting caught and you're getting thrown about or you're going right to jail. So I think it would be better. To be forward, is this system perfect? Of course not. Of course not. It isn't perfect at all. Is it way better than today? Yes. Is it way better than a wall? Yes. It's way better than both. Yes, it's more humane, less money, more effective. And also, this is the most important thing. It deals with the bad guys who are here now. No other plan deals with the bad guys who are here right now. And you and I both know, Mike, they are here right now. And we're doing basically nothing about it, waiting for something bad to happen. Not okay with that. Patty says, what happens to the unaccompanied children? The 12-year-old with their 3 younger siblings. And yes, it happens daily. I know of 2 separate cases. Parent died while coming here in both. Yes. And to be clear, why would you send your kid alone? Why would you? Why do they send their kids alone? Well, one, they can't afford it, or they die on the way. Well, if you could just come here legally, why would you send your kid by themselves? Why would you? Not just that, if it's legal, when you're sending your kid here, you want them to be with somebody else, right? You're sending them because you have a friend here or a cousin here or someone here. That's why they do it. They send a 12-year-old and say, hey, my Aunt Phyllis is here. My, Uncle Carlos is here, whatever. Just call them up. Hey, I'm sending Jane. He's going to be at the Ellis Island in Texas. Go meet him. Why would you send them? You just have Uncle Carlos show up. Hey, I'm his uncle. I'll sponsor him. What's the fee? Boom. Right now, people are paying. If you're sending your 12-year-old, you pay the coyote for that. Don't pay the coyote. Just pay the recruiting company. Right? So Carlos shows up. The fee's been paid. Give me the kids. Well, good. What's the problem? It's like sponsorship. You can sponsor family members. That's already legal in America. Why don't you do that? Bring them in. All good. Give them the orange cards. I have a pathway to green card, even for them. Whatever they have to do, whatever, 2 years or whatever, you give them a pathway. Whatever the current pathway is, follow that same pathway. 100%. Now, again, would there be some odd things happening? Of course. But it's a disaster now. This is way better than that. There'll be far fewer people coming, far few parents dying, and plans. You just, again, whatever the case is, you call up someone who's here. I'll grab them. I got you. Pay the fee and move on. Life is good. So yes. So let's see here. Mike says, business may not have access to all docs needed for vetting for some countries. You okay with exclusion of countries on that basis? Not at all. No. You just tell them that you have to find the answer. Here's what I am sure of 100%. One more time. It is a $200 billion industry. You will find doctors. You will find doctors. That's all I'm telling you. It'll become just a machine. You will find doctors. And again, as long as they hold them accountable, right? If right now some company is making whatever, lettuce, and they got some disease on the lettuce and they put it out there, they're responsible for it, right? If you get sick from the lettuce, you can sue them, you grab whatever. Same thing. You got doctors who are bad doctors, and if someone shows up and goes out and they got tuberculosis or whatever they have, whatever the disease they have, and now people are getting it, they're responsible. Someone's actually responsible. So yes, again, things could fail, but it's far worse now. So yes. Roger Larry says, Larry, you talking about federal contracts? I thought you ain't like Fed contracts. I don't, but I'm also realistic. And if I have a choice of the Feds running the border, running immigration. The Feds can run the border. That's fine. Running immigration, it's not working. I'll take them doing a contract to some other company that can do it better. I'll take it. Absolutely. Christine says, pass English and civics test. Sure. Yes. Again, I don't know the specifics on what test they should take, but I'm fine. Sure. Civics test, whatever the case may be. The issue is we create an actual plan, right? An actual plan, whatever it is, that follows whatever maybe the final test is taken by the federal government. Maybe it is. Or maybe it's proctored by a federal agency or something. It's fine, whatever. This will all be hammered out within the first 5 years. Completely hammered out. Maybe it is civics, right? Maybe it's a certain number of years. Maybe they pass the English test. Whatever. I'm fine with all those things. Whatever works. But again, and now it will be fair to the immigrant. The immigrant would know, okay, do I want to just come here, make some money, and go home? Do it. You don't have to live here if you don't want to. Come just seasonally. Get your orange card, right? So I'm calling it a card. You come to work. You get your orange card. You go to whatever, whether it's a hospitality industry, a farm, whatever. Maybe you're a tech guru and you work, in some tech company, whatever you do. You work there for 6 months, go, you know what, I'm done. You head back to your own country. Okay, why am I mad? You paid your taxes. You worked here. You go back to your own country. You spend your money, hang out with your family and friends. You come back a year later, get your orange card again. Or if your orange card is still good, come back and do it again. Do your 2-year check-in and keep going. Who cares? Maybe you don't want to be a citizen. Maybe you just want to work and go home. Maybe you want to be a citizen. Okay, great. Then you'll know in advance, hey, if I want to be a citizen, I have to pass these tests. I've got to live in the country for X number of years. And you decide as an immigrant, do you want to do that? I know people who lived in this country many years. They love their home country and they never become citizens. Okay. I'm not mad. You need to become a citizen. I'm not asking you to become a citizen. I'm asking you to not be a bad guy and pay your taxes. That's what I'm asking. Don't be a bad guy. Pay your taxes. Here's the method we put out. If you want to become, a green card holder, here's the method we put out. If you want to be a citizen, follow those rules, or just go home when you want. Life is good. I hope that's clear, at least what I'm talking about. So, yes. All right. Let's see. Mike says, so it's similar to the HB1 visa system. Follow that system, among others, people that end time remain in the U.S. How do you address that? Again, every 2 years they check in. If they don't check in, they're gone. Now, how do we know if they're checking or not? Well, the private company will have all the data, and they'll know. See, Mike Voss, he came over here 2 years ago, August 1st. Whoa, he's got whatever, 10-day waiting period. I'm making this up, whatever the time is. 10-day waiting period to check in, or the cops come after him. Do we know where Mike is working? Yeah, because he's working. We know exactly where he's working. Yeah, we go get him, and we say, you didn't check in. Pack your bags. Done. That's how you address it. Very simple. That's how you address it. So yes. Lily goes on to say that the Border Patrol will be much more copacetic. 100%. 100%. Christine's like, I'm in. Yes, absolutely. Christine says you could enlist organizations that are going after human traffickers. 100%. They could work the border too. Yes, 100%. Yes, absolutely. Totally could work. Yes. All right. Sam says, I think the majority of people don't make the connection between their local budgets, the black market for labor, border policy, and law enforcement as a profit center. It needs more visibility. 100%. Yes. Sam, you hit it perfectly. Yes, absolutely. User has been banned by naughty words, says, problem, we have no industry here anymore. It's all overseas. That's not true. We have a massive industry when it comes to farming still. Massive farming industry. They need immigrants, right? Massive industry when it comes to just, in general, animals in general, right? Whether you are slaughtering them, taking care of them, whatever the case may be, massive industry. Also, hospitality, huge industry. Medical, massive industry. We don't have traditional industry like making cars and such. That's true, but there's tons of industry. It's just different types. And that's what they need them for. So, yes. All right. Oh, Mike says 21 million. I said 18. I knew it was in the area. So even with my story, 21 still works, right? Now there's 200,000 bad guys versus 180,000 bad guys. So yes, so it's still there, 100%. Yes. So thank you for that. So, all right. So if I can go down here too. Christine goes on to say, and the increased tax base can pay for the law enforcement around the bad guys. Yes. Now let's say you now decide, say it's a year or two from now, and you're watching the undocumented migrants in your cities become documented, become legalized, become documented, paying their taxes, working regular jobs. Now you can send law enforcement and go, okay, good Pablo, you're no longer afraid. Tell me where bad Pablo is. Oh, no, he's right there. That's where he is. He's in that apartment right there. Him and the other bad guys, they go there on Tuesday at 3 o'clock. Boom. Cops come in, take them all out. 100%. Yes, 100%. David says less taxes, background checks, no welfare. Sounds like a huge improvement over the current system. Yes. Yes. We should probably do this. I've been talking about this system, I'm not joking, for like 6 years, maybe longer. I've been talking about this for like 6 years, and people just don't want to take it. They just keep. Here's the issue. I'm going to give you something that some of you who are on the right may be unhappy. I'll give you a left side too, so you can both be unhappy. If you lean left, even in the heart of left, you would have wanted things like a massive increase in the national minimum wage. You would have wanted Roe v. Wade codified. You might have wanted Medicare for all, right? That's what most people who are on the left want, those types of things. The Democrats have owned Senate, the House, Supreme Court, and the presidency over the past 20 years. They have, for a certain period of time, they've owned all four or some combination. They've never done any of those. If you lean right, you probably want a secure border. You probably want less taxes. And you also probably want, I would assume, all people on the right tend to want things like a balanced budget amendment. Well, Republicans have owned the House, the Senate, the presidency, and the court over the past 20 years. They didn't do any of that either. They're not going to fix the border. Why? How else can you fight over it? They're not going to codify Roe v. Wade. How else can you fight over it? The two big issues that they're fighting over right now, Trump is yelling about the border, Harris is yelling about abortion. Each side had an opportunity to fix both of them and did not. They're not going to fix it. Hopefully, we'll have someone else show up and they'll make some changes. That's all I can hope. So, yes. So, anyway, Christine says all this makes too much sense. The bing bongs and boys never go for it. Thank you. You read my mind. Exactly right. Yes, 100%. So, the things that we're talking about for my shows tomorrow, Patty's going to be here. You and Mike. Yes, Mike will be there tomorrow, 3 o'clock. Yep. And it'll be interesting. We're talking about Trump going to the National Association of Black Journalists. I think you'll enjoy that one, too. That Libertarian lady says, I love Larry Sharpe. Ask me anything. That'll be Saturday at 7 p.m. Absolutely. Andrew says, Larry, the man with the plan, saw the other immigration video discussing the same thing, and this is spot on. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Yes. So Morgan's like, we can't vet our citizens. We wind up doing it anyway, but point taken. But yes, point taken. So, but at least we can vet somebody, I guess, right? There we go. So, yeah. All right. Let's see if I can grab this here. Anyone else I want to pick up? I appreciate all the questions that you guys came up with. So, all right. Andrew says, it's also interesting that most people 8th grade and up couldn't barely pass the citizen check. That's a good point, right? This is what Vivek Ramaswamy was talking about. If you want to vote, you have to pass a civics test. It's an interesting concept. I don't think it's constitutional law, but I get the idea, right? I do get the concept. Absolutely. But yeah, it's a valid point. It is definitely a valid point. So, all right. Let's see here. I think we got that. Marshall says, Larry, clean up your bunker. I don't see any 5-gallon food stores. Yeah, look, I'm trying to fix my bunker to the best of my ability, Marshall. I'm trying to do this, do all these things, trying to fight the good fight. Yes, I'm trying to fight the good fight. Guys, I hope this was interesting. And if it is, do me a favor. I know I bug you, but I'll bug you again. If you haven't clicked the like button, why not? Click it now. Click the button that's like. Just do it. Click the button. If you're watching this on Twitter, retweet this, or X, repost this. Please do that. If you want to help me do more of these, you can. You support the show on YouTube either by becoming a member, click that join button, or by super chatting me. Either way, it does work. It helps support the show. I do more of this. I know this one was specifically on the border. I hope that it was crystal clear with everything I talked about. I'm always trying to find the actual answers that will work. They aren't perfect libertarian answers. They aren't, but I follow certain rules. 1, never increase in taxes ever. Never an increase in any kind of police force ever. If I support individuals at all, I always support the middle class to the best of my ability. If I support businesses, I always support small businesses. Those are my 4 basic rules for any type of policy that I possibly can put together. Will make America better. I really hope it's true. That really matters. Guys, I'm going to ask one more favor. One more favor. When this live is over, please go back onto whatever you watched on and leave a comment. You know who likes that? Yes, indeed. It is Mr. Al Gore Rhythm. He loves it. So do me a favor, head on back, put a comment, and I'll even respond. All right, guys, thank you so much for this evening. I'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. and then on Saturday at 7 p.m. I will see you all very soon.